Hi, welcome to Watch the Time and my unboxing and initial thoughts on the Tudor Black Bay 58. I just want to talk briefly about my choice here, and I actually went and looked at initially the GMT, the Tudor GMT, and I was kind of very close to pulling the trigger on that, and then noticed that they had one Black Bay 58 in stock on the steel bracelet, and I thought, might not get another chance for a while to get one of these. They had a couple of versions of the blue one. They had the steel. Actually, I think they had all versions. They had the steel, the leather, and the NATO version. I was happy with the way the GMT wore on the wrist, but there was something niggling inside of me that thought, if they bring out a Black Bay 58 GMT next year, am I going to regret buying the GMT? And I think the answer is yes. So let's just get into the box. It's just a cardboard box, nothing too fancy. Just normal, regular thing. And then inside it, I've got, again, nothing too fancy. Just a regular box. It's wooden on the bottom, and then, yeah, it's actually wood at the bottom. Okay, so let's open it up. Again, inside, again, nothing too fancy. There is just a little space here for, I've got my links and the hang tag. So let's just pop the watch out, and under there we've got the paperwork, etc. So there we have it, the Tudor Black Bay 58 on the stainless steel bracelet. So let's just get this off of here. So my first impressions of the watch were impressive, and very obviously this is based on the Tudor prints of 1958, hence the name Black Bay 58. And I think what they've done really well here is the dimensions. They haven't gone big, whereas the previous Black Bay obviously was much bigger, much thicker. This is really what I would call more like a vintage diver, and that is what it's inspired by, a vintage diver, almost like a skin diver, I suppose you would say. Very thin. It's about 12mm thin, or thick, whichever you want to say, and that includes probably a millimetre of crystal. So a really thin watch, and then a little bit of the case back, probably half a mil, sits into the wrist. So a very svelte watch. You can see the Tudor rose there on the crown, very nice. No crown guards, again vintage inspired. Really nice. Let's just unscrew the crown for you. Let's just move those hands out the way. Crown action is really nice, as you'd expect. This is a screw down crown, screw down case back. It's a 200 meters, water resistant, very plain case back there. Just a little bit of information, nothing too fancy again. The watch itself comes across very autumnal, very warm in its appearance and look. It's got brushed stainless steel obviously along the top, and then polished along the sides. So it's a nice mixture. The bezel actually is, I think it's an aluminium. I have heard someone say it's steel, but I think it's an aluminium bezel, and I really like that. Sometimes the ceramic bezels I just think look a bit too shiny, whereas this is a nice matte finish, nice and muted. But then you've got the sort of the gold warm coloured detailing on the bezel, and then the little pop of colour, the red triangle with the lume pip at the top. Obviously you've got the gilt hands and gilt surrounds for the markers, and the classic the snowflake hands, or as I call them, squares. I think they're really nice. One of the things I don't like about some of the Rolexes is the Mercedes hands. I actually prefer this handset, and I know that's not to everyone's taste. Some people are really not keen on the snowflake hands, but I really like them. And super legible. There's loads and loads of lume on this. The lume is fantastic, as you would expect, and it is, it's all night lume. No issues with it whatsoever. It beats away at 28,800 beats per hour. It's I think it's a 70-hour power reserve. got a 39mm case, so it's a really nice case size. 20mm lug, so it's balanced really nicely. I think the way the lugs taper to just a couple of millimeters there before the bracelet is really nice, unlike some watches I could mention. I think the profile of the watch is fairly plain but elegant. While we're just looking at that, oh my god, rivets! The bracelet has got rivets, faux rivets. Oh. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. When you wear it, you really don't notice them. It's one of those things. It's like, yeah, get over it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's fine, but I really don't have an issue with it. It's one of those things on a watch that people pick up on and they're really picky about, and in reality, I just couldn't care less whether it's got rivets on the bracelet or not. But they're there, and if it upsets people, then that's fine. Get it on a leather or don't buy it at all. You have choices, don't you? At the end of the day, Cox certified, as you can see on the dial there, 200 meters of water resistance. Chronometer officially certified, so we've got we know this is going to be a nice accurate movement. With a 70-hour power reserve, it's a watch you can put down on a Friday night, pick up on a Monday morning, it'll be still running, which is really nice. So let's have a closer look at the bracelet. Really nice bracelet. The way it hangs, obviously, it hangs across the back of the watch like that, which gives you a really nice instant fit on the wrist. Fit for this is great because the lug to lug is only about 47mm, so it's really nice. Really nice quality bracelet, like a 3-link. The clasp, it's nice. I've got no problems with it. All I would say with this, and I don't know why, it's not rocket science. If you haven't got half links, you need at least 4 micro adjust. If you have got half links, then you can get away with 3, maybe even 2 micro adjust holes. But ideally, half links 3, full links 4 micro adjust. That formula will work on most bracelets. It will just work. It will give you enough movement. Obviously, there's no on-the-fly adjustment or anything like this. And the reason I mention it is because I kind of feel that I would have liked to have had a link added in and then move it in on the micro adjust to give me a bit more leeway, because the way I've got it fits perfectly, but on a really hot day when my wrist swells up, I've got nowhere to go with this other than to take it off. So it does sort of put me in a position where probably on the odd day in the UK when it's really hot, I either won't wear it, or I would need to put it on perhaps a NATO or a leather strap or something else, maybe a canvas. So and I just don't understand. It's not rocket science. It's not difficult, is it, to work out? All you need to do is extend that slightly, have one more micro adjust, and that would have been perfect for most people. As you can see there, we've got the Tudor logo and the Tudor shield. Really nice the way that's integrated, and then you just get your finger under there, flick that up, and then that part of the shield is the top part of the shield is the release. Just like that. There we go. Got Tudor Geneve, steel inox. What that means. There you go. I say it's all very nice, nicely done, nicely machined, solid end links. There's no play or anything in there. As you can see the case back again. Quality and attention to detail for a watch in this price range, I think, is fantastic, and I will get on to price in a minute and value for money, because I think this is actually, although it's an expensive watch for a lot of people, it's actually quite good value when you compare it to its older brother, cousin, whatever. If you look at this compared to a Rolex Submariner, it's about a third of the price, and it's available. If someone like me can buy one, then it means these are available. You can get them. Whereas the Submariners, you have to pay a premium, especially if you want a brand new one. You've got to pay a massive premium. So let's just pop it on the wrist. So there it is on my just over 7-inch wrist. fits really nicely, really beautifully. It's if it had been any smaller, I think it would have been too small for me. The GMT, which is a much bigger, thicker watch, was fine on my wrist as well. That didn't seem too big. Like a lot of people say it's too thick, but it looked fine to me. I'd just call it a more beefy watch, but it was absolutely fine. But this is very spelt on the wrist, and sits really nicely. Let's just move it away there. So yeah, you can see there. It's lovely and comfortable. It's not particularly heavy. It's a fairly lightweight watch for an all steel watch on a steel bracelet. It's certainly not heavy at all, and just pulling that case size down to 39mm, it really makes a big difference. If you've got a much bigger wrist than if you're pushing towards an 8-inch wrist, I think this might look a little bit lost on the wrist, and I'd suggest go for certainly try on the bigger, the original Black Bay, which is essentially the same watch, but just bigger and with a slightly different movement. Obviously this has got the in-house, the newer movement, and I think it's 10 years for service intervals, so we're not, again, another benefit over for instance a Rolex Submariner, although we talk about the Rolex Submariner and this in the same breath, but I think they're very different watches. When you come and look at them, this is a much warmer toned watch. The Rolex is a more sort of monochromatic, colder looking watch to me. But I'm really happy with it. I really like it. It's one of those watches that's making me question some of the other watches in my collection, and I will do a purge, I think, in the new year, and I might even trim my collection down to possibly 5 watches, because I really enjoy wearing the watches, and when I've got lots of watches sitting there, and it does my head in, thinking, I want to wear that today, but I want to wear that today, and so I'd rather sell them and than have them just sitting in a box looking at them, to be fair. I got it from a local shop, so I purchased it locally. A lot of the shops are struggling at the moment with what's going on, so I purchased it locally, paid the retail price for it, $2,760, and I think that's good value. It's one of those watches, I think in maybe a year's time or 2 years time, if I wanted to sell it or upgrade it or swap it or change it, then I don't think it's a watch you're going to make a load of money on, but I don't think it's a watch you're going to lose a load of money on either. I think they're trending around retail price second hand at the moment, but I say they are available if I've been able to get one. They are, although saying that, this was the only one they had. So let's just look at this action on this bezel, because it's a 60 click bezel, but it's one of the best I've ever used. It's quite a thin bezel, but it's grippy, so no issues getting hold of it. But the clicks, I don't know if the microphone will pick these up. It's just beautiful. It's something about it, and I don't know what it is, but it's like, ooh. And the first clicker seems to have a bit more of an indent than the others, and it takes more pressure to move it, so it kind of sits nicely in its position there. Everything's nicely aligned, obviously, you'd expect that. So yeah, there you have it. The watch that's going to make me question my collection. So my plan is the 2 Omegas, the Tudor, the Arnie as the beta watch, my first ever Casio. That's not going anywhere ever, which means possibly selling these two, my ProMaster Diver, which I love but I'm not wearing it, my Dan Henry, these 3 at the back, my Vostok, my Timex, and the Pagani. I think they'll probably go. The Steel Dive, I'm in 2 minds about that, because it's such a good watch, and as a kind of, in the collection that I'd want to keep probably either the Citizen or the Steel Dive as my sort of my beta. I don't mind losing it watch that costs less than £100, and both of these watches fall into that category. This one was second hand £100, and this one was brand new £100. And I know, like, my beta watch, work watch, etc., would be the Arnie, but that's a £400 watch. So I probably would keep either of one of these two. and at the moment I probably err towards the steel dive because it's just such a comfortable, nice watch. Yeah, which is ridiculous, but yeah, we'll see in the new year how that looks. Okay, so thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this review of the Tudor Black Bay 58. I'm obviously in the honeymoon period at the moment. Obviously I'll do a long-term update in the new year, but for now, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I'll see you on the other side. Cheers, bye.